Thursday, February the 7th, and we're at Eastbay Speedway in Florida. Hi everybody, I'm Jerry Clum with the Racing Review video. Yes, I said it's Thursday the 7th. Last night's show, the opener, Wednesday the 6th, was rained out, a torrential Florida downpour. Not unusual for this time of year in Florida. So the first show has been moved up to the second day. There'll be an entire program, though. They're going to be running on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and now Sunday night instead of Friday as the original plans called for. And here we are at Eastbay Speedway, Gibsonton, Florida, just outside Tampa, near the bay. And this is the 9th running, the 9th annual Eastbay Winter Sprint Car Nationals. I think you're going to see some great racing tonight. We've got a field of 58 sprint cars. Some of the biggest names in the nation are here at Eastbay. Now, there's a competitive race being run on the other side of the state. A lot of people thought because that racetrack was putting up bigger money that Eastbay would be short on cars. Well, that's not the case. The drivers came out and supported the All-Star Circuit of Champions, and there's a good stands in the crowds coming into the stands right now. It's going to be a great night of racing if the weather holds up. The weatherman says it's fair now, but there's a good chance it might rain later on this evening and rain out this opening race. Let's go down through the pits now and talk to some of the drivers, and there's a couple of young ones here we're going to try to see, and then we're going to cover the sprint car qualifying, the heat races, and the racing event. For the Race Review video, I'm Jerry Clum saying, let's go racing. Eastbay Raceway, 1985. This is the 9th annual running of the Eastbay Winternationals for the sprint cars, and as we said before, it looks like it's going to be one of the best years yet. We've got 58 entries in the pits tonight, and some of the fastest cars anyone's ever seen. A lot of driver changes. Randy Smith from Iowa now driving the Merle Construction 5M car. Of course, Kelly Kinzer, he finished second in the 1984 All-Star point standings. Kelly's still with the Butch and Jane Smith team out of Kentucky and looking tough for 1985. Randy Smith driving the 56 Shields car is also on hand, and we've got the sales road. All the vendors from the racing parts come in and talk about a young driver. There's Jeff Gordon from Vallejo, California, 13 years old. We'll be talking to Jeff sometime this week. And there's Sport Allen, a 14-year-old from Florida. 13 and 14-year-olds driving sprint cars. Doesn't seem possible, but these boys are good, and their futures look very bright. They're driving top equipment. This NASCAR, driven by Sport Allen, has already won him a feature this year in Florida. And Sport, who broke his arm roller skating a few weeks ago, doesn't think he's going to be real competitive today. A lot of new designs and ideas on hand here at the Eastbay track. The guys get a chance to bring their equipment out, and it's the first time it's run all year, and a chance for them to try new factory setups, new shocks, new tires. Whatever the setup might be, they put them to use here in Florida and get ready for the regular season. Bobby Davis Jr. is driving the Gambler chassis car again this year. It's the Moeller Brothers car, this year owned by Quentin Bammer out of California, and Bobby Davis is going to be a real threat for the Florida Series. He's got one of the best machines and the ability. Eastbay Raceway and hot lap stations are about to get underway. You know, the sophistication of equipment has really proven itself here in Florida over the past few years. We've had new track records almost every year at Eastbay. Going back to the very first year they raced, 1977, it was 17.221 was the track record set by Little Joe Saldana. And that record went down every year. In fact, the 15-second mark was broke February the 11th, 1983. Bobby Davis Jr. come back with a time of 14.448. And then in 1984, the first year the All-Star Circuit of Champions came to Florida, the track record at Eastbay was broken 16 times. And when it finally came to rest, Keith Kaufman out of Mifflintown, Pennsylvania, driving the Al Hamilton number 77 car, had the track record, a time of 13.759. And that's the mark that these drivers will be going for during this year's running. Previous winners of the Eastbay shows have been Paul Pitcher back in 1977. He won the first year. Doug Wolfgang's been tough to beat in Florida. He's had 5 victories. He won in 1978, 1979, 80, and 81. And then in 1982, the winner was Sammy Swindell, and he came back and did it again in 1984. Steve Kinzer was the winner last year, 1983, and Steve is not here this time. Steve's running the show at Volusia County Speedway.
My name's Roby Helm, and I'll be calling the fast and furious action for you tonight. We had, of course, the rain out on last night's show, and in case you're wondering, the show has been moved up one day, and the finals will be run on Sunday evening, beginning with time trials, or the first racing event, I believe, will be at 7 o'clock. Looking awfully fast out there. Greg and Kim Pravat working since early this morning, getting this track into shape after that heavy rain last night here at Eastbay Raceway. So 51 automobiles in the pit area getting set to shoot at that track record held by Keith Kaufman at 13.759 set last year here at Eastbay Raceway.
Now it's time for qualifications. That was the voice of Roby Helm, the announcer here at Eastbay Speedway. And the first car out is Randy Kinzer out of Bloomington, Indiana, driving the Jerry Shields number 56 car. He picks up the green flag from starter Harry D. And the clock is running. I'll point out now that the digital readout you see is the unofficial time from the race review video cameras. The time on the corner of the right-hand corner of the screen will be the official time, and Randy's is 14.336. Randy Kinzer in the 56 car, time of 14.336. Rodney Ritter in the 19 car next out. Rodney's also from Bloomington, Indiana. The car is owned by Rodney and Sue Ritter. Down the backstretch, Rodney goes through turns 3 and 4 on this short third-mile clay oval. Picks up the checkered flag from starter Harry D. And his official time is 14.218 for Rodney Ritter. Fred Linder, the defending All-Star Circuit of Champions Sprint Car champion from Burgoon, Ohio, driving the Flake Kinema 3X car. That's an Osborne chassis with Gertie engines. And Freddie comes down and stops the clocks with a clocking of 14.246. Good time for Fred Linder. Next up is Ed Lynch Jr. in the 2 car. Ed's out of Apollo, Pennsylvania. It's a Carlton Hine is the owner sponsor of that car. I believe the owner is Ed Lynch Sr. Ed Lynch stops the clocks with a clocking of 14.203. That's the fast time so far this evening for Ed Lynch Jr. Next up, Rick Ferkel from Tiffin, Ohio, driving his own car this year. It's a Osborne chassis, Keir Speed Shop, one of Rick's sponsors, and Jim Darley, the wrench that worked with Rick for many years, is now back with Rick Ferkel. His clocking 14.349. Good time for Rick Ferkel. Next up, Bobby Davis Jr. He had the track record last year before losing it to Keith Kaufman. He's driving that Quentin Bammer Gambler down the backstretch. Just Memphis, Tennessee. Hot Shoe is standing on the gas. It's down through turn 4, picks up the checkered flag. His first lap, 13.927, the first car in a 13-second bracket, and so far the fast time, but not a track record. Davis stands on the gas, right back in the motor. Coming through turn 4, stops the clocks the second lap with 13.628, a new track record.
New track record, 13.628. Second lap time.
Next up, a Florida driver, Roland Johnson, in the number 72 car. Roland's from Tampa, Florida. He drives the Protel Sprinter. Down the backstretch in a 72 car, coming through turns 3 and 4 on this third-mile oval. Roland stops the clock, clocking of 14.593. Next up is 13-year-old Jeff Gordon from Vallejo, California. And Jeff is just starting in sprint cars. A go-kart champion, a driver of quarter midgets. His first time in a sprint car. He's looking very smooth, very sure of himself. He comes down for a clocking of 16:11, and that's a little bit off the pace, but his official clocking on the second lap was 15.816, a little faster for Jeff Gordon. You watch this young driver. He gets better each day during the running of this year's Florida Nationals, and by the end of the week, we're really impressed with Jeff Gordon. Next up, Tony Wyant in the 38 car. Tony's out of Springfield, Illinois. He drives the Linco Sprinter, and he stops the clock with a fast time of 14.218, and that ties him for 5th fastest of the evening, Tony Wyant. Jack Hewitt from Troy, Ohio, driving the 31 car, owned by Don and Harold Nichols. That's a Gambler chassis. And Hewitt's a veteran driver of many years now and likes to stand on the gas and ride high. Hewitt's time, a clocking of 14.230. Good clocking for Jack Hewitt. That puts him in the top 10. Randy Smith, a new ride for Randy this year, driving the Chuck Murrow 5N construction sprint car. Randy's out of Iowa. looking very good in the Murrow construction car. He picks up a clocking of 14.480 for Randy Smith. Next up is another young driver, Sport Allen. Sport lives down in Florida. He's been running at Eastbay now for a few months and has already picked up a feature win. Sport Allen driving a new Nance chassis, looking good here at Eastbay Speedway as he picks up a clocking of 14.985 for Sport Allen. Next up, Dave Blaney, the defending 1984 Silver Crown titleist from the USAC Dirt Champ Car Division, former Rookie of the Year with the All-Stars. Dave out of Hartford, Ohio, driving for Dick Briscoe here in Florida. He picks up a clocking of 14.191, and that's second fast time for Dave Blaney, Hartford, Ohio, in the Dick Briscoe Sprinter.
The first lap time for Dave Blaney, that second fast time.
Kelly Kinzer, that 47 Butch and Janie Smith sprint car, an Osborne chassis with Gertie engines. Kelly's second in 1984 in the All-Star Circuit of Champions. The year before, he was the Rookie of the Year, and he's looking real good as he comes down through turn 4, picks up the flag, a clocking of 14.649. Kelly Kinzer. Kenny Jacobs in the 4J car. Kenny out of Holmesville, Ohio, drives for Ed and Ken Reno. It's a Gambler chassis, Gertie engines, and the 4J of Kenny Jacobs stops the clocks with a clocking of 14.291 for Kenny Jacobs. Doug Wolfgang out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, driving the Bob Weichert Livestock number 29 car. And this year, it's a Trossel chassis. Used to drive Gamblers, but this year, it's a Trossel for Wolfgang. 14.285 is the time on Doug Wolfgang. That's seventh fast time of the evening. He's won more features in Florida than any other driver, and he'd like to do it again this year, now driving for the Bob Weichert team. Here's a rundown of the top qualifiers. It was Bobby Davis with a new track record of 13.62. Second fast was Dave Blaney, followed by Ed Lynch Jr., Rodney Ritter, Tony Wyatt, and Freddie Linder. Behind Linder was Doug Wolfgang with a 14.28. Next was Kenny Jacobs, followed by Randy Kinzer, Jack Hewitt, Rick Ferkel, Donnie Kreitz, and Frankie Kerr. There's your top 13 qualifiers. Remembering the top 10 qualifiers are guaranteed a start in tonight's 20-lap feature event that will be paying $3,000 to the winner. There's the two flagmen, Harry D. with the flags in his hand. The assistant, Laverne Patrick, though, will be sharing the flagging duties this week here at Eastbay Speedway. Harry flags back in New Jersey during the regular season and has become a regular flagman in Florida each year during the Winter Nationals. First up, we have the first heat race of the evening, and these guys will be running hard because we're going to be qualifying from these heat races into the feature event. Be two cars out of the feature into the A, the next two into the B, and the balance into a C main. Rick Unger and Daryl Dodds setting the pace on the pole there. Roland Johnson and Taylor Andrews are also in this race, row 2. Rick Unger, now living in Memphis, Tennessee, is driving the Verlin Chop car. That's C-H-U-P-P, Chup. He's setting the pace now. They're going down the backstretch. Harry D looks him over. The green flag's out. The race is underway. The racing has started here at Florida for 1985. And out in front, it's Rick Unger in the 7C car. Daryl Dodds is running second. Daryl is out of Wadsworth, Illinois. It's Unger setting the pace down the straightaway. Daryl Dodds running second. Moving up fast on the bottom on the inside. Now moving into second position, it's Taylor Andrews. Running side by side, Unger and Andrews. And on turn 3, Rick Ferkel has spun. Ferkel has got high and spun down in turn 3. That's going to bring out the yellow flag and a restart as this race is half over this evening. We notice now as the yellow flag's out, Rick Unger seems to be losing oil out of his car. A trail of oil has been following the car, and he never pulled in. The race is now back under the green flag. The track's cleared, but the oil and the smoke's coming out of Unger's car. And now he's dropped back into second position as Daryl Dodds has moved back into the lead. Daryl Dodd in the 11 car as Unger is second and Taylor Andrews is running a close third. but we're worried about that Unger engine. He's lost his oil during the cleanup for Ferkel on the track, and it looks now like he's running without oil as he's out there, and the engine is starting to smell very hot. It's Daryl Dodd out in front. Daryl standing on the gas. Ferkel is back up on the move, coming from the back. Ferkel all the way up to third position in this second lap of the restart. Rick Ferkel is flying in that Osborne chassis tonight. It's Daryl Dodd, your leader. Second place is still Rick Unger. His car running, we think, without oil. And there comes Rick Ferkel, moved into second position as Ferkel is charging up on Daryl Dodd. Unger's car is going to a stop on the backstretch. That engine's finally quit on him, and it's come to a stop. It's Daryl Dodd, the leader now on this restart. Rick Ferkel coming up very strong from the back. And he'll be running second on the restart. We've got 6 laps remaining.
We've got 6 laps to go. So in just 3 laps, Rick Ferkel has come from the tail end of this field up into second position.
Good job of driving for Rick Ferkel out of Tiffin, Ohio. One of the seasoned veterans down here running this year in Florida. Harry D's looking him over now for the restart. They're grouped up. The green flag's out. The race is back underway. Daryl Dodd's the leader, but Rick Ferkel is coming up fast on the outside. Taylor Andrews and the EDAT cars moved into third position. Ronnie Smith running fourth, and Billy Boat out of Arizona is in fifth position, followed by John Escura. Side by side down the straightaway, Rick Ferkel goes high on the outside, trying to get around Dodd on the outside through turn 2. Ferkel seems to be able to work this track either on the high groove or down at the bottom. He passes him high on the outside going through turn 4, and down the straightaway the new leader is Rick Ferkel. Ferkel has taken over the lead, but Dodd's right back in there side by side down the backstretch. Everybody making a race out of this. Ferkel again high on the outside in turn 4. He keeps his momentum up. He seems to drive a little bit harder in the turn than what Dodd is, and now he's moved into a solid lead with 2 laps remaining in this, the first heat race of the year for 1985 and Eastbay Winternationals. There's the white flag indicating 1 lap to go. Rick Ferkel pulls a several car lead as he comes through turn 4, picks up Harry D's checkered flag and the win. It's Rick Ferkel from Tiffin, Ohio, driving the Kears Speed Shop Osborne. In second position, it was Daryl Dodd in the 11 car. Third place was Taylor Andrews, followed by Ronnie Smith, Billy Boat, John Escura, John Schiedelman, Tom Bigelow, Frank Filsko, Rick Unger, and Roland Johnson. Next up, it's the second heat race of the evening. Again, 10 laps. The top 2 cars in these heat races advance to the A feature. The next 3 cars go into a B main, and the balance of the field goes into a C main. It's going to be a lot of racing at Eastbay this year with a field of over 50 cars. Each night there'll be a complete new show. Terry Shepard brings out the green flag and moves into the lead. That's not Joe Clay. That's the 20 car of Jim Haynes. Jim Haynes from Tarpon Springs, Florida, in that Ledford construction car has spun in turn 1. And Haynes is sitting in the middle of the track. And Joe Clay, the 11 car, is leading this race. And, of course, the race will be completely restarted.
The flag car leader might have slowed down, Junior, a former URC sprint car.
Here's a complete restart now. The green back out. The second heat race underway. It's again Joe Clay in the lead. Sam Rodriguez and Donnie Kreitz moved into second position. Kreitz in the 69N car. Down the backstretch, Donnie moves into the lead. It's Kreitz the leader. Running second is the Joe Clay in the 11 car. And in third position is the 03 car of Sam Rodriguez. Sam's a former taxicab driver in Ybor City, as 37 Hank Lauer is in fourth position, and Jim Haynes has moved back up from the restart in the fifth position, followed by Terry Shepard in the 7 car. Out in front, though, it's Donnie Kreitz in the 69N car. Donnie's out of Sinking Springs, Pennsylvania, and that's a Kreitz Bright Bill sprint car. And that 88 car back in the back, it's Bob Hopp also in this race. As Jim Haynes in that 20 car is doing a good job of coming back up after restarting on the tail as he's racing now wheel-to-wheel with Joe Clay. And Haynes has moved into second position at the halfway mark. Your leader is still Donnie Kreitz in the 69N car. Hank Lauer in the 37 car is now trying to work himself into third position. Remembering only the first two spots are qualifying spots for the A main, very critical positions to get into and to end up in when the checkered flag falls. Right now it's Donnie Kreitz out in front, standing on the gas as the 20 car of Jim Haynes is starting to close in on Kreitz. Running third, it's Joe Clay in the 11 car. Hank Lauer has moved up into fourth position. 2 laps to go. The starter indicates 2 laps to go. As the field goes through turns 1 and 2, there's the white flag. Donnie Kreitz still leading down the backstretch. Haynes has not been able to close in that gap as Kreitz comes down and picks up the checkered flag. The winner is the 69N car of Donnie Kreitz, followed by Jim Haynes, Joe Clay, Hank Lauer, Sam Rodriguez, and Terry Shepard in the 7S car. There's your results of the second heat race.
Fans, how about a nice round of applause for a former URC champion from Sinking Springs, Pennsylvania, Donnie Kreitz Jr. Area Robert Smith. On the outside of the
Next up is the third heat race. Denny Donaldson from Michigan is driving the 7D car. He'll be starting on the inside. On the outside of the front row, it's Red Koonsbeck in the 66 car. Red's a local driver from Florida. Michigan and Florida sitting on the front row. A lot of states represented, 15 different states these drivers are coming from down here this year, the field of 51 cars. And fans come from all over the country.
16X Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon is sitting in the back of this heat race lineup. He actually qualified farther up and was able to start in the second row, elected to go to the tail so he could gain some experience. The green flag, the race underway. It's Donaldson out in front, and Jack Hodenshield, who was sitting in the third row, slipped alongside Donaldson and moved into the lead. It's Jack Hodenshield out in front, coming down for the first lap. Jack's from Millersburg, Ohio, but he's driving a car owned by a local owner, Jack Wetzel, down here in Florida. And Hodenshield is one of the top competitors running with the All-Stars. You remember last year he drove the Bob Hampshire 63 car the latter part of the season. In that 21S car, that's Jerry Stone. Jerry Stone driving the Lloyd Stevens Ofixco number 21S. Out in front right now, though, it's Jack Hodenshield. He's standing on the gas and moving away from the second place car of Denny Donaldson. Frankie Kerr has moved in to fourth position in the K54 car, and Jeff Gordon staying out of trouble. He's doing a good job back in the back of the pack, gaining some valuable experience. Kerr is now running side by side with Jerry Stone, the 21 car, as Jack Hodenshield is still out in front, setting the pace in this third heat race of the evening. It's Hodenshield, Denny Donaldson, Stone, and Kerr battling for third position. There's the white flag. Hodenshield picks it up, 1 lap to go. Takes about 13.9 seconds to get around this track when you're staying on the gas. And there's Denny Donaldson in the number 7 car going by some lap traffic as the checkered flag falls on Hodenshield, who won the race, followed by Denny Donaldson. Frankie Kerr, Jerry Stone was 4th, Red Koonsbeck was 5th, and Robert Smith, another Florida driver, finished in 6th position. Jack Hodenshield, the winner. Becoming a local hero here in Florida this year, it's Sport Allen, 14 years old, a red-haired, freckled-faced little boy, but a little boy with a big foot. He drives a good race car and is looking very competitive down here. Although we mentioned earlier he did break his arm in an accident that was not in a race car, and because of that he's driving with a cast on and a little bit cumbersome, and he doesn't think he's going to be too competitive. So keep your eyes on Sport Allen as Sport is in this race and driving the 18N car, a white Nance sprint car. Joe Gertie in that 3G cars on the outside of the front row. Joe's from Rochester, Indiana, the son of ace race car engine builder Earl Gertie. He's sitting right alongside of Sport Allen. They're coming down for the green flag. There's the flag. The race is underway, and Sport Allen has moved into the lead. It's Joe Gertie running a close second to Allen, and Kelly Kinzer, the 47 car, running third. Gertie and Kinzer also young drivers. Gertie is 19 years old, and Kelly's 24. But Sport's 14 years old out in front, his first year in a sprint car. And right now he's got some hard-charging youngsters behind him, too. Sport Allen, followed by Joe Gertie and Kelly Kinzer. Coming up in fourth place now, moving up back fast in the back is Randy Smith. And Randy would be the one of the veteran drivers in this foursome, as he's been driving for a few more years, I think, than Kelly Kinzer. 1984 was the first full year for Joe Gertie behind the wheel. He was the 1984 Rookie of the Year for the All-Star Circuit of Champions. Right now it's Sport Allen out in front. Kelly Kinzer and Randy Smith has moved into second position. Randy Smith's in second position. Sport Allen doing a fine job of holding on here. He's been right out in there leading the race all the way, setting the pace. Now Randy Smith is on his tail on that 5M Murrow construction car. And Randy tries him on the outside, tries him on the inside, and he's going to put Sport through the test, giving him a little education here on how to make a pass around a sprint car. He goes high on the outside through turn 4, stands on the gas down the straightaway, and Randy Smith moves into the lead. Sport Allen drops back to second. Third place is still Kelly Kinzer. Oh, excuse me, Joe Gertie's in third place, and Kelly Kinzer's in fourth. Sheldon Kinzer has moved up into fifth position. The leader is still Randy Smith. Sport Allen's in second position, but now being pressured very heavily by the 3G car of Joe Gertie. 2 laps to go. Gertie made his move by Sport Allen, moved into second.